Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. It's a cold wintry day, a great day to be in the shed with the fire going. We've got to get something out of the emergency storage shed today for episode 127. It's really a perfect day just to hang out in the shed, isn't it, Coco? And today will be another mystery crate. Yes, probably the, I think it used to be yellow, that sort of pale bone coloured one up the top there. I haven't peeked, I don't know what's in it. It might be more curious old electronic shed stuff. It might be anything. We'll get it down in a second, but our quest at the moment is to remove all the stuff out of this shelf in the center here, and then we can work on the pile of boxes behind it so that we can get back to this side and move some cupboards there and make some more wall space. So the shelf we're looking at is around about halfway from the front of the shed to the back, so there's a lot more episodes to go. We've done over 2 years now, something every week. I'm going to persist until the shed's available for use because I have plans for it. So without any more ado, let's get that crate down. Well, we have some interesting and possibly valuable stuff in this crate. So I'm enjoying this mixture. It's amazing what's stashed in this shed. I don't even know that I've seen some of it before. Sometimes we empty people's sheds and it has to be done in a hurry. You know, deceased estate, property being sold, we have to have it done by settlement. So we specialise in total cleanups. Quite often though, we'll empty a shed and just kind of have a peek and say, yep, that's worth keeping. Never get to the bottom of it. It goes into storage. So there's amazing stuff in here, some of which I think I've never seen before. This one looks really interesting. We have a mixture of shed and household, and on top, some really nice Art Nouveau washstand tiles. I don't know if it's a set of 6, but they will clean up and sell very well. So let's get into this one and see how much worth of treasure we've found in this crate. Okay, so this one has tiles. Now these would have been off a washstand, circa 1900, maybe to 1910. Very Art Nouveau with the classic tulip design. Really nice. They're quite thick. They're possibly English. Stoke-on-Trent, I think I can read there. So they will clean up nice. Usually they come in lots of 6, and they would have been along the back of a washstand with a marble top where people would have had their big wash bowl and wash jug and possibly a mirror over the top of them, or at least a rail to hang a towel. So there are a few here. I'm hoping there's 6, but no matter how many there are, oh, there might be only 3. They will sell very well though. I'll clean them up. They will look magnificent. So happy to find those. Now I just moved an axe head here. It's a fairly clean one. I wonder how new it is. Axe heads sell quite well, and certain brands can bring pretty good money. Is it branded at all? It might be just a modern one. Oh, it says 4.5 pound stamped on the side there. It doesn't look like it's had much use. A couple of bruises to the top. I think it's still got some remnants of original paint, but unfortunately I can't see a brand on it. I will have to give it a bit of a scrub up, but it's not chipped. So if it was a branded axe head, it could make $100 or more depending on the brand. Unfortunately with no brand it might only be $20 or something. It's promising that it's stamped 4.5 pound. Alright, we'll give that a clean up and see if we can read something on it. Now, what have we got in here? There's a shell tin that's had the top cut out of it. Hydraulic brake fluid. 1 gallon, so it's about 1974. They changed a lot of the capacities on bottles and tins and things. In the early 70s, it wasn't a gradual shift from imperial measurements to metric. A lot of people think it was 1966, which is when they changed the currency in Australia. But weights and measures took quite a few years for everything to change. So that's not particularly valuable, but being shell, being pre-metric, it's probably going to get at least $20. It is a bit sort of bent up. It's not rusty, but yeah, and the top's been cut out. It's been used to store something. I think we'd still probably get about $20 for that with a wash-up. Now we have a light. Is this a floodlight or a spotlight? Oh, it's an old spotlight or driving light, maybe a fog lamp. It's branded No Tech, and it's only the one, unfortunately, but a pretty cool old light. That would have to be maybe 1940s at a guess. So we'll give that a clean up And I'll do a bit of research. I don't know why it's got a darker piece of glass. It looked like blue glass in the middle and a yellow type glass around the outside. It would probably work. It would take a globe. We can open it up and have a look. I'll give it a clean up. It will clean up a lot better. A shame it's not a pair, but that's still probably going to be at least a $20 light. I'll have to do some research on that brand. Okay, we have... oh, here's an old wooden tap. These were a barrel tap, and they normally branded Gauge, made in Melbourne, most of them. I think this one is a bit hard to read at the moment. So they just basically hammer into the end of a wooden keg or barrel, and you've just got a simple turn tap that's a bit seized up. They're tapered, so a bit of a tap this end should free it up. So yeah, that's going to be at least $10, I would imagine. We'll see if it is branded. I just can't make it out. Bit of kitchen stuff. This box has everything. What's this? A spanner, a cast iron, not really a spanner, more of a pump handle, probably from an old oil pump, or a lever off something. Could be any number of things. It's fairly rough cast, but it goes obviously on a square shaft to turn it. Sometimes some of the old stoves had a tool like this to move the grate back and forward to let the ash fall through. This is too big for that. Possibly a pump, I'd say. I don't think there's a brand on it. I don't think it's going to be worth any more than $5, but we'll check it out. So a bit of kitchen stuff. We have a really psychedelic retro flour sifter. Unfortunately, it's lost the handle part that operates it, but how's the colorway there? Made by Candy, Australia. Very 60s flower power look. It's actually okay. It's complete except for the little handle. It even has the piece that moves in the bottom, and it still moves. But most people don't buy these to use them. It's most likely going to be a kitchen display item, and it's got great colour, so that will clean up well. $10 with, I'd say, given that it's not complete, $10. If it was complete, probably $20. The old toaster. It's a hot point. It's the classic toaster where you forget you're toasting and you come back to a room full of smoke. It only does one side at a time. Looks like the elements are a bit dodgy. Not sure if it's actually going to work. And unfortunately it's quite rusty. That will clean up a fair bit. It does have all the knobs on the sides. They're often missing these knobs. That side's better. So this could be 1930s or 40s, maybe into the 50s. I don't have a cord for it, but that's not a problem. As I said, I don't think people are actually going to use the thing. And yes, the element wires have been broken, so it's not functional. But as a decorator piece, we'll clean that up. And I reckon we're probably going to get maybe about $20. Depends how well it cleans up. It's quite rusty on top, unfortunately. But yeah, a nice relic from the past. So we really have a good mixture here, and the last thing in here is a large sealed can, and it feels like it still has contents. Genuine red lead. What was red lead used for? Was it a paint additive? Was it something to do with plumbing? Lead oxide, poisonous, dust. Avoid breathing dust. So I'm not sure what it was used for. But that's well and truly sealed up. It hasn't been opened for a long, long time. I don't plan on opening it. The tin looks a bit rough, and it certainly feels nearly full. But as an Australian tin, it's not a paper label. It's been painted. It's going to be worth something as a display piece. Not sure, $10, maybe $20. We'll give it a careful clean up. And that empties our milk crate. So I've washed most of the things up, but these two need a bit more attention. I thought it would be worth pulling this one apart, given that there's only 4 screws at the top and the knobs unscrew so that we can clean these doors out a bit better. And also I think the bottom plate comes off, and I think it's actually missing a couple of screws. So it's worth my while pulling it apart because I'll be able to clean it up a lot better. Some of the rust spots aren't going to clean up, but a lot of the little pitting and staining will come up a lot better just with a good wash in hot soapy water and some aluminium foil, because that can clean up the chrome very well. Now, I think this is chromed rather than nickel plated. The earlier ones were nickel plated. Now, these were patented very early in the 1900s. This one's made in Australia. There's no patent dates. I would expect this one's probably 1940s or thereabouts, but I have seen them back to the 20s, and the earlier ones were nickel plated. I'm pretty sure this is chromed. So I think it'll come up a lot better. I'm not going to fix the elements. I'm not going to find a cord for it. It'll just purely be a decorator piece, but I'm going to go to a little bit of trouble in cleaning it up. Now, to get these screws out, I've given them a bit of a spray with PB Blaster. I haven't actually used this before. It was recommended to me quite a few years back by a subscriber, Street Copper. Now, I'm not even sure if he's still around anymore, but, well, I would hope he is, but I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. But yeah, he recommended this, and I've seen a few people in the States use it, and I bought a can, and I've never actually used it. So we'll leave these ones soak overnight, and I'll see if it comes apart. Looks like someone's tried a few times. The screws are a bit chewed out there. I might have to find some replacements. So that's what I'm going to do with that one, is just clean it up. Much the same with this. Now, it's a fog light, I believe, and it's English made. No Tech is the brand, and they were, I believe they were an accessory, and they were fitted to a lot of English cars. And I found a photo online of one of these on front of a Bentley, and as you can see, it's actually an individual light. You don't have to have a pair. So this one is pretty rough. I think it'll clean up surprisingly well, but it has got some dents to the chrome. Again, it's chromed. It's probably 1950s. It has got a little bit of rust in patches. I did see someone trying to sell one of these exactly the same as this online, and it was brand new in box, new old stock, never been used. It looked as shiny as. It was amazing condition, and they were after over $1,000 for it, but it hadn't sold. I did see some in rough condition not get bids. I think they were in the UK for only about £20. So obviously they're not super rare. This one's got a little bit of corrosion around there. The glass may be a little chipped at the top. But I'm going to, again, I'll pull this one apart and give it a bit of a scrub up. It'll present a lot nicer. I'm probably only going to put about $20 or $30, maybe 30. We'll see how well it comes up. I don't know what the significance of the blue center is, but the yellowy glass, I think it's supposed to be a fog lamp. So there we go. A couple of things to take apart and clean up. The rest of the stuff's pretty much done, but our notepad, I think, is going to be fairly impressive with a total this week. Let's see if we can open this light up for a start. Be much easier to clean up if it's in bits. That was loose. It looks like that's a brass screw, which is good. Means it doesn't rust. Okay. How does that come out? I'm assuming it lifts up. Maybe it's hinged. I have to give it some encouragement carefully. Oh yeah, it's opening a bit. Probably hasn't been apart for a long time. I don't want to mark the chrome too much. Oh, there it's coming. I mean, it's marked already, you know, it's a bit rusty, but seems like it's lifting up. Oh, we better undo that properly. Now, is it hinged at the top? Yeah, it feels like it. I don't want to force it in case I snap the hinge, or is it just a locating pin or something? Ah, yeah, there we go. Just a little locating tab. Oh, it looks pretty good inside, I've got to say. One wire's broken off. We can feed that through. So if we had tried to power it up, we wouldn't have got anywhere. We would have probably assumed that the globe was blown. Assuming it's got a globe in there, it looks like it has. So that would have connected. Yeah, there's lots of solder around the rim of the fitting here, so that could be easily fixed up if we wanted to. Now the reflector's held in by some spring clips. But that part's actually remarkably good inside. I assume the grey is the original colour. So that's not dented at all. That would actually clean up and repair really well with a respray. So most of the damage on this one It's actually not too bad. You'd probably need to get it re-chromed. We'll need to see how well it cleans up. Yeah, there's a dint on the side there. But really, that's its only damage, other than maybe some chips to the glass. So we'll take these spring clips out. They usually just bend down. There we go. I think they use clips like this for decades in cars. I think my old Holden used to have clips something like this. Okay, so the clips are good. Now, there's probably a seal between the reflector and the glass. How does that come out? Oh, there we go. It's got to squeeze past the rivets. Yeah, there we go. There's a seal that's gone totally hard and brittle. But it's not a sealed beam as such. I think that glass lens will just pop off. The problem is if we do pop it off, we're going to lose all these bits of rubber, and then it won't mount tight. It'll be loose. So I think I might leave that intact. I'll clean the glass. Hopefully it's fairly clean inside. And I might just try and leave that well alone, because otherwise the glass is going to be loose and I won't have anything unless I make up some sort of seal, but starting to go to a lot of trouble. So we'll leave that as it is. This is the bit that really needs the most work to clean up, and it will look the best when this is clean. So we'll give this a good wash up tomorrow, probably when we wash the toaster up. And yeah, we'll just gently wash the glass from the outside, and it will look a lot better. And I'm not going to fix the wiring. We can just leave that as it is, because if anyone buys this thing to put on a car, they're probably going to fully restore it, so it's not worth my while trying to solder this on just to see if it lights up. Who knows if the globe's any good or not. I'd probably prefer just to sell it as is, and we'll just get it looking a lot better cosmetically. It's not the next morning, but it's a few hours later, so I thought I'd try and undo these screws, and I did try them quickly. This one is going to undo fine. I thought I might as well turn the camera on while I'm doing this. You guys might be interested. So that one's fine. The nut's fallen off the bottom. We'll get that later. This one I tried, and the metal on the screw seems very soft because the screwdriver just kind of peeled it away. It's extremely tight. I tried a larger screwdriver with a bit of a tap with a hammer just to sort of reseat the screwdriver in the slot. And even with lots of downward pressure, the screwdriver's just riding up. So I'm going to get a hacksaw and just cut a slightly deeper slot in that and see if that will help. The ones the other end, I haven't tried these ones yet. Oh, this one I did, and I think the nut's turning. The nuts are supposed to be against the frame. And we're not going to be able to see in there very well. But the side of the nut's supposed to rest against the frame and stop it turning, but it's slipping past. So I'm going to have to try and get a little spanner or something in there to hold it, because without holding it, it's going to keep slipping. Yeah, it just slips past the frame. This other one, the slot's almost non-existent. It's been chewed out, and I haven't done this. I haven't even tried this one, but someone's butchered that once before. We'll just see if that will undo it. I doubt it's going to be loose, given that it's so chewed up. Yeah, that isn't going to move at all. All right, so I've only had success with one out of 4. That's not very good, is it? Let's get this one out. The nut has fallen off, so they're only little screws. I should be able to find some replacements, but I don't really want to damage the top. I mean, it's not going to be in very good condition anyway, but I'm not going to hit it with a grinder and grind the head off the screw, because it'll leave nasty grind marks in the metal. Let's try and get a hacksaw, and without scratching the top, we want to just cut the slot a little deeper in the screw. Alright, of course the risk is if we go too deep, it's going to split the side of the screw off, which will leave us in a little spot of bother. Although I suppose if we split both sides off, it'll just about knock through. Now we could try some heat as well, but they're only small screws, so we'll see how we go here. That's working. Excellent. There we go. So that's how you can kind of semi-repair a screw when the top's been chewed out. Mind you, it's still looks pretty butchered, so I'm going to replace it, but at least we've been able to undo it. Now the nut's just fallen down on that one. Okay, so 2 down. Now this one here was also badly butchered. We shall try the hacksaw trick there again. Okay. Ah, success. Excellent. Okay, only one to go, and this one we have to get a spanner underneath or a little shifter or something to hold the nut. Okay, I found the right size spanner. It's a 1/4 inch AF, and it seems to fit the nuts very securely, so if I can get that on there, it should be able to undo. Okay, success. Very good. Now we can remove the top piece. It'll be much easier to clean up when it's in pieces. Now the doors will come off just with these unscrewing, and there is a short spring behind them. Well, there's not on that one. And that will fall out when we get the side plates off, which screw through to the bottom plate. That one has a spring. Looks like they just have one spring for each side. So now the end plates, we have only one screw remaining in each end. And I think they're going to unscrew okay. Although we'll probably have to hold the nut underneath. Okay, that's worked nicely. And this end plate can come off. There's the screw still in there. So I'll have to find some replacement screws for the missing ones. Now the doors will come off. And the wire frame that holds the elements will come off. The elements themselves are connected via some wires. We'll leave them as they are, but you can see it's got broken wire here. This one's been twitched together. That's pretty agricultural, but I guess if it makes a connection it's still going to work. I think we're actually missing a few wires from this one. Or has the insulation slipped out? Anyway, I guess given that they don't work and they need replacing, I'm not going to do it, but we might just snip the wires off this end. It'll just allow us to clean things up a bit easier. So we'll just snip the element wires there. That frees up that. Now we only have the one to undo, and that is it loose. I'll have to do both sides, but I think it'll come out fine. There we go, completely dismantled. It's going to be much easier to clean up. So now I'm going to give it a wash in hot soapy water, and I'm going to use some aluminium foil just to give it a good scrub, and you'll find that should bring the chrome back pretty good. Now, if you'll pardon the glare, there's all the pieces cleaned up. Some of that I did have to scrub a bit harder with some steel wool to get the rust removed from it, but mostly the aluminium foil scrunched up did a pretty good job. And importantly, it doesn't scratch. The aluminium won't leave scratches, whereas even fine steel wool will leave a scratch. So I've just been looking through some drawers of hardware, trying to find some replacement screws, and we just have to put it all back together. So I've found some suitable screws, and now for some speed reassembling. And there we have it. The light went together so much better than the toaster. That toaster put up a bit of a fight. It was quite a fiddly reassembly because things had to be aligned perfectly before things dropped together. Certainly was easy to take apart, but a little bit trickier to put back together. How good does it look? It's really nice, actually. It doesn't look new. I don't want it to look new. It has scuffs and blemishes, but it presents beautifully. And you could put a new element in this, and I have a feeling, believe it or not, in a box somewhere I may have some new old stock elements for these old toasters. But I'm just going to sell this one as it is because it might be a couple of years before I find that box. But that's cleaned up really well. I'm probably going to put about $35 or $40 on that now. It came up actually better than I expected. And the light came up pretty well too. And if you have a look at the back of it, how does that look? It's the original grey paint. Yes, it's got lots of scuffs and scratches to it, but I just gave it a bit of a spray with clear lacquer, and it looks magnificent. In fact, I really like those aged marks of scuffing and paint loss. It kind of, you actually see new stuff now where they've made that on purpose, just to look vintage. This is genuine old vintage, 1950s or thereabouts, no-tech fog lamp or spot lamp. I think it's a fog lamp. And I think I'm probably going to put about $50 on that now. Again, it cleaned up really well. Sometimes, you know, I even say things should clean up well and it still surprises me. Very enjoyable doing these jobs. So there we go. Right, let's get the rest of the stuff out and we'll get our notepad out and see how well we actually did from this one crate today. And there's our collection from today. Before we get to the notepad, I'll just show you how some of these things cleaned up. The tiles came up beautifully, nice pastel colours, early 1900s. Quite a lot of the Art Nouveau tiles were selling online for up to $50. Some people were asking over $100 per tile. I think these ones, I'm going to try them at $25 each. I said earlier in this video that they could be off a washstand, probably, but they also use similar tiles around fireplaces, and sometimes the fireplaces only had one or two feature tiles and the rest of them were plain green or something. So they've got a market for that sort of use, but also some people just collect these beautiful old tiles. So 3 of them in good condition. If we went 25 each, there's $75. The axe head, unfortunately, I couldn't find a brand on it at all, but I think it is an older one, and I'm going to ask $20 for that. It's in great condition. The keg tap or barrel tap is marked H gauge maker Melbourne. I've seen those before, and I tapped the taper back and now it does actually turn. I think it's got a cork sleeve in there, so that would probably work. I'm going to probably go $15 on that one. The large handle here, I said possibly off a pump or something. It's a bit too big for a tap handle because these are similar on old garden taps and things. In fact, the famous Furphy water tanks, the tap had a handle similar, but this is way too big compared to the Furphy one. I think the Furphy one's only about 2/3 of that length, and they're a different shape, so I'm pretty sure it's not a Furphy tap. If it was, they bring quite a few $100, even unmarked, because the original ones did not say Furphy on them. And I have a feeling the square might be a bit large for a Furphy tap. I don't have one here to try it. It might fit. I'm going to probably put $20 on that. So I've upped my price a fair bit on that one. There's no brand on it. It does say number 8. That's all it says. You've seen the light and the toaster. The Shell brake fluid can just washed up fine. It's got some damage. I said 20 earlier on. I think we might go more than that because I believe it's probably quite a rare tin. I found lots of the round brake fluid tins, but I didn't find. I found one other 1 gallon square one, but it was different. So I'm probably going to put $30 on that at the shop. It may be worth quite a bit more, but 30 will do me on that one. Just 10 on the little flour sifter as mentioned. And the can of red lead. Now I did a bit of checking. Red lead was a pigment used in paint. It actually was used in primers for metal work. Apparently it was a really good corrosion resistant additive. It was also used mixed with putty, linseed putty, to make a sort of a sealing compound for timber boats, I believe. It is quite toxic. I'm not going to open this. I have cleaned it up, but I've sprayed it with clear lacquer. That's why it looks quite glossy. And the lid is quite solidly sealed, and now it's got a coating of clear lacquer over it. It looks a little rusty in places, but I'm sure that's only the outside. I don't think it's got any holes pending. So I'm probably going to go about $30 on that. It's a great showpiece, but I'll be warning whoever buys it not to open it because it's lead oxide, and it is, like all the heavy metals, it is quite toxic. So there we go. Let's get the notepad out. We'll add up some prices. My bench is now empty. I've packed everything up in a box to go to the shop tomorrow, and the notepad shows us a total of $290, almost $300 from one little crate. That's pretty good. I enjoyed the variation we had here. I enjoyed the cleanup projects I did. Mind you, putting that toaster back together will give me nightmares. It's amazing how easily it came apart, and yet getting it back together, you had to sort of hold your tongue the right way, and yeah, we got it in the end. I'm persistent. Don't know how we'll go with these prices. You know, that red lead tin, well, we'll need the right collector to buy that, but it is a nice Australian tin. The fog light, well, obviously someone with an English car may be interested. Maybe they've got one and they need parts for it. I think if you were looking for something like that, you would expect to pay a fair bit for it. And the other items, well, I think the Shell tin will sell pretty quickly at 30. And the tiles, well, again, we need the right buyer, but from what I saw that sold online, I think we'll have no troubles getting that. I'm quite a bit cheaper. So there we go, good return from this week. Incidentally, last week, the distributor test meter sold first day in the shop for $50. The guy collects old cars and automobilia history. He was absolutely rapt to have it. He's taking it back to his little private museum. The car radio is still there, but I'm sure that will go the same way very soon. And some of the previous episodes, we've sold a bit of stuff, not worth looking back through. Remembering that with this series, I'm not looking to liquidate stock quickly. I want to stock my shop with interesting things. I don't necessarily want everything to sell the first weekend. So I don't mind if some things sit there for a while. As opposed to the other series that we have running each week at the moment with all the e-waste I collect, the Monday Marathon series. I don't want that stuff sitting around very long, and I will price it to sell fast, and if it doesn't, we discount it, and I'll look back at the previous weeks to show you how things are going there. But on this series, yeah, we've sold some of the car manuals. There was some sell on eBay, which I'm doing a video on. A bit disappointing, that one, but we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, as far as the stuff goes through the shop, we are selling it. It is moving, and the total, I meant to get to the total for you. We are now over $20,000 worth of stuff out of that shed. I think we're about $20,500 approximately when I tally up all the things I price. And remember, some of them I discount further, like from what I say if they've been in the shop a long time, but other things like that CRT TV a while back that I wrote down 50, we got 80 for it. So sometimes I'll get stuff in the shop and I'll actually bump the price up a bit. Other times I don't price something because I'm going to keep it, and then I have a change of mind and I sell it anyway. So 20 grand out of that shed's pretty realistic at this stage. We've got, is there another 20 grand to go, or will we actually stumble across some better stuff? You'll have to hang around to find out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.